Welcome back to my channel. This is Wilma's Alternative Solutions, and I have a couple deck reviews for you today. I wanted you to check out a couple of Lenormand decks. One of them is new and you can get it on Amazon, Walmart. I do not recommend looking for any decks on that Wish site or any of those discount sites. While discounts seem like a great idea, when it comes to Wish and those kinds of things, their decks are not legitimate. They're knockoffs, they're reprints, which means the publisher and the artist are not getting your money. And that is not fair. We don't like artists to be ripped off. And the deck quality sucks. The printing is often a little weird. And the sizing is a little funny, and you're not really saving that much money. Like, I've seen decks for like $13 that I can get for $20, and the decks were messed up, cut wrong, the colors were off. It just wasn't worth it, not to mention the person never got their money. So I stick to places like Borders, your local bookstores, book depository, Amazon, although Amazon has had an influx of counterfeit decks. Keep in mind, this is not, but this is called the Old Style Lenormand, and it is published by US Games, which I like because I prefer their card quality to some of the other companies. And it was done by a Mr. Alexander Gray, or I'm sorry. Wow. Okay. Ding, ding, ding. I had my mind on other things. I was looking at a 50 Shades of Tea mat. I don't know if you can see that earlier, and I was looking at some 50 Shades of Tea divinatory systems it was named after, and so yeah, but no, his name is Alexander Ray. Excuse me, Alexander Ray. But this is the Old Style Lenormand, and it is 36 cards. It's a very nice, what I call traditional deck. I think it comes with 2 extra man and woman cards, as we can see here. We have the rider. Now the rider is facing left. I usually go for a rider facing right, but that's okay. The clover. Now what I like about these cards is they're very clear. The images are very big. So this is a deck that I could see using in a grand tableau, and I would not have any issues with misinterpreting the cards. Some of the cards that I can sometimes get confused about would be the sun, the moon, the clouds. Sometimes the ship has too many, the sky is too big in the background and there's too many clouds. It can get confusing in a GT when I look quick. This is not going to happen. It's a very big ship. The clouds here are very obvious. It's very interesting. You do have a light side and a dark side. It's not terribly clear, but I would definitely see the green versus the blue as 2 sides. Snake is always a difficult card to make look not gross in some ways. A lot of snakes look really creepy or evil. So this is a really well done snake. I like that. The coffin, it does have the directional on it with the headpiece, the lantern there. Most people use cloth. The difference between the cloths here also works. Bouquet, again, it's not going to get confused with lilies. I love that. The scythe, whip, and I like here it's not just the whip, but it's also the it's the whip and the besom. So that makes sense because the whip is about things that might be a little harsher or abuse that comes from this card, but the besom is the daily chores. It's the repetitive nature that comes from the whip as well. Beautiful birds card, the child, the fox. I love the fox is red because they have you have your redhead card for those people who use it that way. The bear is also nice, and it's brown for the brown hair. Stars, again, another card that could get confused with if there's too much water, too much sky, but it's not going to happen here. Love it. Stork, beautiful. The dog, excuse me, allergies are terrible. The dog here is a little redder than I would ideally like, but I'm not going to complain because I'm not going to get that confused with my red-headed card. And the dog is a beautiful dog. And we have it turned around. And we have a beautiful tower. The garden. Again, you're not going to get confused between garden and path here. I love it. Mountain, very clear. Path, again, see how the crossroads is very clear which card it is. I love it. I love this deck for clarity. Mice, the heart, ring, book. Again, you're not going to get book confused with letter here because it's so clear. It also shows you where the spine is, the letter, the man, and then here's the alternate man, and the woman, and there's the alternate woman. Lilies, sun. Okay, see the sun and the moon, very clear cards. Not going to get them confused in a GT. You're not going to be looking at sunsets and, you know, moons over water kind of thing. Those are, I just personally, I can sometimes, you know, it's hard to see it in a GT. I can misinterpret it, look at it first off, and the fish is interesting. The fish almost looks like it's flying here. So I could see myself going bird, fish, if I was doing something quick, but it's luckily very fish-like, and that would be an odd-looking bird. So I'm going to remember this as fish. I like that there are other fish in the background because fish is multiple, it's abundance, so I prefer to see more than one fish, so that's nice. Anchor is another hard card to sometimes get a nice picture of. That's a beautiful anchor. And a nice cross. This deck it doesn't have any harsh symbols in it. It's very palatable. Like I said, the snake, the cross, they're not overpowering or negative. It's very clear. I think this is perfect for a grand tableau. You've got the extra peoples in case you want to do same-sex relationships or polyamory relationships. It has the numbers as well as the card significance, which I also like to see, and the label. I love this deck. I was really looking forward to it. It reminded me of something traditional, but with a new kind of flair, and that is the outside or the back side of the deck. So yeah, I love this deck. It slides smoothly. It's great. Like I said, US Games puts out some nice high quality cards. They tend to slip well. I won't talk about the publishers that I'm not quite so fond of. If I ever do a deck review and it happens to come up in the review, I'll probably mention it there, but I just like to give props to US Games. And this is cheap. This is like $10 or $11. So it was a beautiful find, and I love it. And you can get that just about anywhere cards are sold. Now, I have an older deck. Now, some of you may be familiar with Tara Lynn's work. She did quite a few Lenormand decks back in the early 2000s. Well, early 2010s. I learned of her work in, I believe it was 2013. I have another deck of hers called the Emerald Lenormand, which I'm not going to grab because it's way buried, and my other deck from her was the Mini Alone's Vision, which is a nice beautiful blue deck with very clear symbols, and it was great for GTs. This is the Mystic Mauve Lenormand, and I don't know if you've ever seen it, but you are going to see it today. And I'm showing it to you today because it is out of print. So this is a hard deck to get. Anything from Tara Lynn is very difficult to get now because unfortunately she passed away, and while she is still with us in spirit, and I'm very glad that she left all these beautiful tools and artwork behind, this is it. So if you know about her decks, this is the time to grab them up. There is a Facebook group with someone who is organizing her estate and selling off her estate, is taking great care to sell off her divination and spiritual things, and they've been posting, and you can go into the group and ask what you're looking for. I do know that the Emerald Lenormand is sold out. It is my favorite Lenormand deck. It is a dark green foresty. It is just absolutely heavenly. and it is right here. But this was the other deck that I wanted to get from her, and I put it off, and finally I was able to get a copy. There are a couple other copies left. Her decks are not only gorgeous, right side and back side, but she also, like a lot of us, I think, can't decide on all the cards and wants to give people options. So her 36 card Lenormand decks are huge because she gives you a lot of optional cards. And so you get to choose which cards you want. Oh wait, this isn't the Emerald Forest, this is a T. Okay, so I don't have the Emerald Forest. Oh wait a minute, maybe I do. Nope, I don't. I thought maybe I had it handy, but no, it's shoved back in there with all my Lenormands, which is behind my camera. So the Mystic Mauve, these are the 36 cards that I personally put aside to use myself. They're not in order, so forgive me. But we have this beautiful tower, this moon. See, this is what I mean, like a lot of moons and suns are set over water, set, you know, with mountains. And if the sun or the moon isn't prominent in the picture, I can start thinking, is this the mountain? Is this the stars? You know, but these are very clear. You see the very clear moon. Beautiful tree. Again, the whip and the besom. The red fox. The stork. I love that these, they have slightly different color variations, but it's just very beautiful, very soft. This rider is again facing left. We have the book, the spine, the ring, crossroads, a very obvious path there. I love it. Garden, very obvious garden card compared to this one. I'm going to know which one is which. Mountains, again, very obvious. Love those mountains. This clouds card is phenomenal. I think it, you know, has a beautiful show of the light and the dark side. It's also very clear. It also reminds me of the turbulence and almost the tornado-like picking up in clouds. It can not only be something that's cloudy or maybe depressing, but it's just really, it shows that it's really kind of almost traumatic or really messing with your life. So if you're looking at it from a depression, mental health standpoint, I can relate more to that card. This ship is again very beautiful, very big, vibrant, the prominent picture in the scene, so I love it. Cute baby. The stars, once again, you're not gonna confuse that. Clover, birds, and this is the cross that I chose, multiple crosses. This beautiful scythe, cute dog. And the coffin has directionals with the flower, the heart. Now some people would say, oh, well, you know, I might get that confused with bouquet, but it is heart-shaped. And again, this is another symbol that you have other options. And this is the bouquet. I absolutely love that card. The bear, key. I love this man card. It's just kind of spiritual. And he's just kind of cool, the wizard dude. House, she always does the best houses. I love Victorian houses and just beautiful houses, and she really nailed that one. Lilies, the sun shining through just like the moon. It's really got that vibrance. It's coming out, it's hitting you right in the face. This is very yellow, the moon is very white, it's very clear. Mice here. This is again a nice snake. Very difficult to find a snake that isn't like, doesn't gross people out. It doesn't look too harsh, and this is well done. Anchor, another well done, hard to find card. And we have the matching wizardy lady, the letter, and fish. And again, the fish shows multiple fish for abundance. Now again, this wasn't in order. I had shuffled it, I've used it. Again, I love it because it has the numbers and the card inserts, but these are all the extra cards she puts in. And she does put in a few extras, what do you call it? A lot of people, you know, between the French and the German, it's like, which is your work card, which is your sex card. There's a lot of debate in the community. Do you want it to be the lily? Do you want it to be the whip? You know, is the fish card, or the anchor, or the fox your work card? So if you want to make it clear, and then it allows the other cards to speak fully so that they're not having to layer, she has given you a sexual intimacy card so that you don't have to choose between the whip or the lily, and then you can see what's going on with the actual whip and lily. We have an actual money card. So again, you don't even have to, it's like you want to be clear, do it. I find these to be great in 9-box readings. There are times when I will shuffle these cards into a reading, but I won't use it as a significator in a 9-box, and it'll still come up as a significator in a 9-box, and then I'm like, holy grail. All right, now we have clarity. There's another work card, and I like the way she did this one because it has the time clock, and it says job. And then she has a couple of cat cards. She has cat to represent the, kind of like the dog. You have the friend that may be a female friend, and they might be a little catty, they may not be a little trustworthy, but not quite a fox, you know. Just get you to, but you've got a couple cats to choose from. She also has a yes and a no, and these are all optional. You don't have to use them, but if you want to, you could use this, like the yes and the no, for 2 different spreads for options, like do this, don't do this. You could use this as a significator for, you know, a yes or no question. You could also just leave it in the deck to be shuffled with a yes or no question and see if it comes up. Or you could shuffle it in with your combined cards and then pick one of the 2. There's a lot of different ways that you can use these cards for yourself. And then this is the card that came with it. And I'll show it to you just because she is no longer with us. I think it makes it just a little more important and special. I really do appreciate her contributions to the community, and her decks are, all of her decks are absolutely amazing. So these are the alternate cards that you could choose from. Again, she does have a rider facing right. I do like that rider. A lot of times it's very hard for me to choose which cards to use because I love them so much. This is a beautiful clover. I might switch that rider out. Another variation of the coffin. Another variation of the ship. There's 2 ships here that can go in different directions. I personally didn't use this because it just has such a Titanic vibe for me, and I knew that that was going to throw off my readings, but I do love that ship. And it's not that all ships, I mean, I think it's a great ship for Lenormand. Just for me personally, I just get sucked into the Titanic vibe and it's going to screw me up. We have another snake. The snake seems like more of a really going out for what they need and the outside of the box, really going after things, or the really snappy snake in a deception. The houses were all very hard to choose from because she left lots of houses. And this is one thing that having since seen decks like this, I tell creators, if you can't decide on a card, you know, why not leave options? And then, you know, you might not be the only one who can't decide. The person who gets them may want to choose their own. I think it's an awesome, awesome opportunity. Terry Smith also includes extra cards for you to choose from. I love this bouquet. This was, again, a hard one to choose. This tree is gorgeous. Birds. A lot of people choose owls because I believe owls were the original symbol for birds once upon a time. There's alternate child, there's a girl, and there's also a boy. So if you have a particular gendered child that you relate to, you can also use that. This bear is awesome. And look at the cute dog. This crossroads is really nice. It's also a very obvious crossroads. for anyone who is confused or thinking that they might get all the flowers in the other heart confused, you've always got this option for heart, which is also very beautiful. It was a hard choice. The ring was also a hard choice. Letter here. This isn't her other men. She's got lots of men, lots of women, so you could really get a party going on here. And then there are the two other women. And I might swap up those two because I like them. And I can swap them out anytime I want. I can also, beautiful lily, another interesting fish card. And here's another cross option. This is a little more ominous as a cross, so I went with the, what did I do with cross? What did I go for? Yeah, I went for the lighter cross. But these are things that I might switch out depending on who I'm reading for, depending on how I'm feeling for the day. Maybe I just want to like change my deck up, because that's the joy of this. And then you get to, you get to enjoy all the cards that you don't necessarily like one more than the other. So then you can just trade it up, kind of like pictures on your wall. So this is the Mystic Mauve Lenormand by Tara Lynn. And it looked like it was released in 2014. I had to look closely. She does have other decks, and again, you can find a Facebook group for her estate stuff. If you look for Tara Lynn Lenormand, you'll find it. And if you have any trouble finding it, let me know, because they still do have some stock. I believe there's 1 or 2 more of these decks. I just put it in this cute bag. And I hope you enjoyed that. For all my Lenormand lovers, that is what I have for you today. Hope you enjoy. Give me a like. Let me know what you think below. Tell me what your favorite Lenormand deck is, what you're looking forward to getting next, what cards confuse you. I'd love to know. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.